What's up, the world? This is your boy Tommy, man. And I just came in to talk real quick about Bronny James and the hate he's getting online. I told you, you got two guys. I mean, really three types of guys that hate LeBron James or now Bronny James. You have the uber stupid conservative middle-aged guy who loves using the word woke with quotes all the time, because really it doesn't mean woke to them. It means uppity nigga. And so you got that guy. You got the other guy who is like the mad, what's the idiot that's on First Take all the time? I don't know his name. It's like Mad Dog or something like that. That guy is the personification of every single middle-aged, ignorant dude that don't know shit about sports, yet somehow is always putting their input in on stuff. 90% of their stuff is guessing based on what they want to be the truth. And then when somebody tells them, like, no, that's not how it works. That makes no sense. They say things and they think, well, I just tell it how it is. Like, you don't tell it how it is. You're just a moron who doesn't have an original thought. And your mindset is that you're going to repeat stuff that you hear sportcasters say, and that's fine. Repeat stuff that you hear sportcasters say. But if you're going to do that, you probably need to back that up with some actual truth. Like, give me the X and O's of why you believe what you believe. Well, Lamar Jackson never shown himself as a great passer. He hasn't shown the ability to beat you from the pocket. That is a guy who hides behind stuff that ignorant people say, and then he's the one that keeps saying it, and then he'll turn around and say people say. And they dance and they dance and they dance because truly it is just a jealousy in them. They are pathetic. 90% of them have no athletic ability whatsoever. They couldn't play a game of pickle or without freaking passing out, because they're so unathletic and so bad at everything. They have no true talent that would separate them from other people. They're just loud mouths who tend to say the dumbest things on their mind out loud. And when you push them with facts, they're too proud to just pull back and just say, this is not my area of expertise, let me be quiet. They just ignorantly keep asserting what they're saying is true, even though you're like that. But that doesn't make any sense, because it contradicts you saying this here. Why did you say this? And then when you push them, they don't give a crap about how stupid they look. They will change tail and completely change their argument the minute they just made it to make one argument. It's like, well, how's this different than your argument you said here? And that's who that Mad Dog guy, right? He's the personification of every type of conservative, middle-aged, ignorant Boston/New York guy that you hear arguing about sports. Most of them don't know shit about sports. Most of them don't know how to explain things in a way that shows that they have any actual intelligence when it comes to the sport that they're critiquing or the player they're critiquing. LeBron James needs to shoot more. That guy. He just doesn't take over the game. He's just athleticism. Those are the guys who say stuff like Floyd Mayweather Jr. I don't like the way he fights. Why? Because he's scary. No, there are people who root against people that generally are black and generally are athletic or uber athletic, and they don't know how to explain why they hate them. And the truth of the matter is, they hate them because they represent something they will never be, which is athletic, uber athletic, and good. So there is a deep-seated fear in them, right? And there's a deep-seated ignorance in them that their entire life, the black athletic person has been their Achilles heel. And when that person shows themselves to be in a different class, they have to make excuses for it. Oh, he's a quarterback. That's why all these GMs, and that's why it's so important to have diversity in the front offices. Because when you have 90% of the people are conservative white guys, you think that they're making decisions with their head. But 90% of the time, they're making decisions with their heart. They plan for the home team 90% of the time. And that's what these guys represent. They represent guys who speak from the perspective of the bitter, middle-aged conservative guy, the conservative white guy. And you got the Jordan nut jobs who make up the other ones. And then you got the political woke job guys who don't like LeBron because of his political leaning. So you got the Jordan nut job, the people who don't like LeBron for his political leanings, and the bitter, middle-aged, sucky, loves sports but never was good enough to play it guy, who hates LeBron James because he's uber athletic and they hate anything that's uber athletic, because they have to convince themselves that athleticism is somehow a detriment to playing athletics, because it's the only way that they can reconcile in their mind why black players are so much better than them. Not them, because none of them, the athletic good white guys generally don't worry about stuff like that. They can compete. It's the uber nerdy, gangly, can't play any sport good guy who comes out and has the most talking when he has absolutely no understanding and even less business talking about these situations. But those guys, you kind of just like, okay, they're bitter, and you kind of see it. Then you got the political leaning guys who have absolutely no love for basketball. They don't really even watch basketball like that. But it's a popular sport, and 9 out of 10 times they're speaking on it because of their political leanings. Meaning they don't talk about LeBron unless he says something, unless they're there to say something negative about him, because they think he's a tool of the left. So they target him from that. And then you got, the most vocal nut job ones, which is the Jordan fans, and those come in all shapes: white guys, black guys, it doesn't matter. Narcissistic. I want to see my player shoot 90 shots at the expense of everybody else shooting 10. And I want him to be the only reason why they're winning. He has to be crazy, he has to be selfish, he has to be all these things, because to them, selfish is the same thing as the term. Those are the Jordan guys. And there's obviously, it's more other stuff. Those are the people that hate Bronny James, right? These uber weirdos. But as far as him as a player goes, from what I've seen, people are like, well, he reminds me of Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday has never been as athletic as Bronny James is. You can stop that. Bronny James is way more athletic than Drew Holiday. Not that Drew Holiday is a bad player. I mean, if Bronny ends up being Drew Holiday, then you can notch that as a successful career. But that's not the point. I don't think he will be Drew Holiday. I think Bronny James is still developing into the player he'll be. One thing people got to understand, and a lot of people, that's why I'm so glad that Bronny James showed his ass this weekend. In that spectrum, in that environment, because I said this all year. It's easy for these guys to go out there and score 30 points against high schoolers. Yes, they're high schoolers, but they're playing against high schoolers. They're not playing the top of competition, and it's easy for you to go out there and score 30 points when you're playing against lesser competition. They were not playing the schedule that Bronny James has been playing for the last 3 seasons. They have not been under the same scrutiny Bronny James has been on for the last 3 seasons. This game, where Bronny James played on the McDonald's All-American game, is probably not even his most viewed game. This is probably a step down from what he used to, and probably a step up from what everybody else is used to. Bronny James is used to every time he steps on the court, there being a million cameras on him, a million people asking him questions, and a million people critiquing. That is the environment that Bronny James grew up playing in. And I don't give a what you do. You cannot take that experience and put it on a guy like DJ Wagner. Nobody gives a shit if DJ Wagner plays bad. Nobody's going to do 90,000 videos on DJ Wagner. And to be 100% honest, I thought Bronny James looked better than that kid yesterday. I was watching that game and I was like, I'm confused. Yeah, he ended up scoring 20 points in the second half, and that was cool. 19 points in the second half, but most of that was not off of him just being uberly talented. 90% of that was him staying in. When Bronny James them left, he stayed in. Most of the time when Bronny James them were on the court, he wasn't really doing anything. The whole first half he had 0 points. So they switched it up and started putting him in with logging his minutes over to when the second string came in. And when the second string came in, they were not the same defensive players that Isaiah Collier and Bronny James were. So he was getting into the lane. He was doing a lot of stuff, and his 3-point shot started to fall. I think he made 2 3-point shots. Those fell, and then started to get, and so they pressed up on him a little more, and he started getting around people. But he's not that type of guy that's gonna, put it this way. He's not a great attacker of the rim, because his athleticism leaves a lot to be desired. He's not a Kyrie. He's not a guy who's short, but he can manipulate the ball, and I think he's gonna get a lot of his shots blocked when he goes to the next level. So firstly, I would say that I wasn't really that impressed by DJ Wagner. Isaiah Collier, I thought, was a great player. He just has to clean up his mistakes. That guy is all over the place. He reminds me of a younger Westbrook. He's just bullheaded and just runs full speed and this stuff. And I think he's gonna have to show. He has to realize that sometimes you got to slow down to get past people. And sometimes it's not always about bullying a China shop. Let me just find a way to get in. And it's like, but Isaiah Collier, I like. What's the number one? Whatever his name is, I liked him. That Edwards kids, I thought I'm like, it looked like the rankings were backwards. The DJ Wagner guy, he has had a great week at the McDonald's All-American game, but he has not had a better week than Bronny, which brings me back to the point I was trying to make. Bronny James plays within systems. Whatever you need him to be, he will become that. He is not out there trying to score 30 points. Other people, the rest of those guys are. They're out there trying to score. And as long as they get theirs first, they're going to play that way. Oh, as long as I can get mine first, then I'm gonna do that. Bronny James, unlike the rest of those guys, Bronny James is used to picking his spots, waiting on his opportunities, and playing off of good players. Those guys are not. So when when everybody keeps saying, how is he a top 5 pick? I will explain to you why he's a top 5 pick. One of the main things you got to get these kids used to, who are used to being good in small, being big fishes in small ponds, is understanding the pressure that comes along with being a Division I athlete and being a pro. Bronny James already knows that. He's more scrutinized and is followed as most NBA players. So Bronny James has dealt with that. That is an experience that most of these kids will never be able to replicate. They will never be able to do that. So that first makes him a possible high draft pick, because you cannot get that type of experience there. 2, he tends to play well in high pressure situations. He not only is used to that experience, he excels in that experience, which is also puts anything he does up by 10. 3, his level of competition. Nobody was playing the schedule that the Sierra Canyon guys were playing. The guys that Sierra Canyon was losing to by 2 or 3 points were nationally ranked team. DJ Wagner was not playing guys like that. Isaiah Collier was not playing guys like that on a weekly basis. And when they were the only stars on the team, meaning everything went through them. They did not have to learn to play with other people. They could play how they wanted to play, and the ball would find them. So their numbers were never going to suffer much, because most of the time, the intention was to get them the ball. And they never had to learn to play basketball in a smart way. They just played it any way they wanted to. And so when you watch these, that's the third thing. 4, if you find me a 6'3" guard that is athletic as Bronny James, that would not have been as highly touted as this guy's 6'3" doing East Bay dunks. A shutdown defender with a cold 3-point shot. I'm trying to figure out, and we ain't even talking about his ability to run an offense. Meaning, Bronny James can play off the ball, but Bronny James also is a Chris Paul type when it comes to playing point guard. If you get him the ball at the top of the key and you give him a complete system that revolves around him, meaning he's the point guard, Bronny James does nothing but make winning plays. So all these people were saying Bronny James shouldn't have been in the All-American game. Are you retarded? And then they show up in the game, and Bronny James is possibly one of the better players in the game. Dunk contest clearly shows these guys are 3-4 inches taller than Bronny James, and Bronny James is dunking doing dunks with ease. So I'm trying to figure out what about Bronny James seems to be overrated, and I'll explain what seems to be overrated. Underrated, which is the influence of nut job LeBron haters. Bronny James is a great player. High school wise, he's an elite player. When you talk about going into that type of experience, there are so many factors that idiots don't understand when it comes to picking. Oh, he averaged 10 points a game. First of all, he did not average 10 points, and they keep reporting it. He averaged 15 points a game. And he averaged 15 points a game with other high value Division I players on his squad. Meaning those players, the way that the system that Sierra Canyon played fosters a system that allows for elite players to transfer in who are used to playing. And those players are getting the ball in their hands all the time. And Bronny James does not mind picking his spots. He's like LeBron. I'll find my spot. Y'all just do y'all. And he does. So Bronny James is not going out there trying to score 20 points a game. He doesn't need to. Bronny James goes out there and he plays his game. But when you put him on a team, which is why I do not think he should go to USC with Isaiah Collier. I think if he goes to USC with Isaiah Collier, that would be a train wreck. That kid does not want to pass, and he's a reluctant passer. Meaning he will pass as long as he gets his first. If he gets 20 points, then he turns into a passer. But if he's second in points or third in points, that kid is going to shoot and shoot and shoot. And when you have a guy like Bronny, who does not mind playing off the ball, that is going to be a headache, because he's going to kill Bronny James's number, and Bronny James is rarely going to have the ball in his hand with that kid on the floor. I really think the smart thing for Bronny James to do would be to go to a team that has that has players that are role players that have to play off of him. Not a guy not playing next against all-star. I think that's LeBron James's influence of constantly trying to get him to play with really good players. And I think him playing with really good players does not help him. I think it hurts Bronny James, because I think he's become way too passive when it comes to playing. The way he was shooting yesterday, Bronny James should have been putting up more shots. But instead, he never had the ball in his hand. So instead of him being able to attack the rim like he normally is really good at, he's a really good attacker on the rim. But you didn't get to see that in the McDonald's All-American game, because he just never really had the ball outside of being a catch and shoot guy. And people think, oh, he's a catch and shoot guy. No, he's not. Bronny James is really good at taking people off the dribble and getting to the hole. He's never had an opportunity to, because Isaiah Collier most of the time he was on the court. He was on the court with Isaiah Collier, who was very ball dominant. And I think when you're dealing with players that are ball dominant, you tend to just sit there and try to be extensions and find spots for them to get you the ball. And I think that's what happened with Bronny James in that situation. But as far as him being a talent, yes, I think Bronny James is well equipped to be a great player. He has all the tools that any scout would look for, regardless if he was LeBron James' son. I mean, what do you look for when you're trying to choose a prospect? How well they play under pressure. Where are they when the games really matter? Athleticism, how their athleticism projects, and how in their basketball IQ. You would say Bronny James is A+ in every one of those areas. Yet somehow, him being a top 5 pick to people, they don't understand. You don't understand because you don't want to understand. Anybody with common sense would understand where that comes from. Find me another prospect that will be coming out next year or this year that can speak to that being their truth. No, you can't find another. So please say Bronny James is getting preferential treatment. Yes, he's getting preferential treatment because the preferential treatment he got, he excelled in. And that gave him the platform. Yes, it started out that he was LeBron James that got him the attention, but that is not what has sustained him. So anyway, I just wanted to say that. And the kid's a good player, and I think he deserves all the credit in the world because 90% of people would have buckled under that pressure, and that kid seems to excel in it. So if you're a hater of Bronny James at this age, then please find something to do with your life because it's pathetic. But if you have not, please comment. Thumbs it up if you like, and subscribe. All right, y'all. Peace.